In what was supposed to be a must-win game for the Raptors, they did not show up and put on probably their worst performance of the season. But in the end, it might actually have been a good thing. Let's get into it. So the Raptors did not control their own destiny with 2 games remaining in the season. They needed to win both of their games, and they needed the Atlanta Hawks to lose both of their games. So knowing that, hey, you have to win out, this was a must-win game for the Raptors going to this game against the Boston Celtics. But seeing as Atlanta won the game, or seemingly are about to beat the Philadelphia 76ers, the Raptors now need to be hoping for the best possible lottery spot. And in the East, obviously, they're fixed into 9th place, which is why seeding doesn't matter for the East. However, with Minnesota coming to the day on 40 wins, same as us, and OKC coming to the day on 39 wins, 1 less than us, there's possibilities for the Raptors to move into better spots for the lottery if they are to lose in the play-in tournament. So the Sunday game coming up against the Milwaukee Bucks, that is going to be tank city for the Raptors. At least it should be, with those positionings in mind, and you want to get yourself ready for that Wednesday game against the Chicago Bulls. Now that we're a minute in, we have wrapped up the positives that we got from this game. I generally don't think there's been a worse performance from the Raptors this season. This was a game we came in a must-win game. We were down 50-22. We were down, 67-31? I'm pretty sure we were down by 36 points at one point in this game in the first half. This team needed to win games, and it came out this flat. It was it felt like a dream. It felt surreal to see that scoreline. For this team to be so bad in a game that going in, they the thought process before this game for the Raptors was they needed to win. And they came in so flat and so poor and were so outright horrible. Boston Celtics, you got half of the Boston Celtics in back-to-back games. Today, there was no Brown, there was no Smart, there was no Malcolm Brogdon. And you just got absolutely torched in the first half. Jason Tatum did everything he wanted, and by halftime, his job was done. That's how easy it was for the Boston Celtics tonight. He let Sam Hauser get 26 and just rip you apart from the outside. Like, Sam Hauser's a fine player, but 26 points. We were at full strength. We were at full strength here. Al Horford got 3 blocks. Robert Williams got 3 blocks. Derek White had 10 assists. Peyton Pritchard had 22 points and went 9 of 14 from the field. The Celtics in this game had absolutely everything they wanted. We could not stop them. We had nothing to prove on the other end. The game was done at halftime. It was just complete disaster performance. This is a team, you saw them at full strength here. This is a team who has to play the Chicago Bulls in 5 days for the right to play another game to get into the playoffs. If the Raptors look anything like they did in the last few games against the Chicago Bulls, they're going to lose. And this should be the last time we see the Raptors at full strength before that Wednesday game against the Chicago Bulls. Because Sunday should be a tank job for the reasons I outlined earlier. I'm trying to find the words here. I've come around because we did the entire second half streaming. So we were laughing, we were hanging out, we were talking about other things. So I've calmed down a little bit. My blood was boiling with this performance because they were so extraordinarily flat. The Celtics knew exactly what we wanted to do, and they had every possible way to stop it. So if you can't come up with these sort of adjustments against half of the Celtics, it doesn't really instill a ton of confidence that you're going to be able to do this on Wednesday in that do or die play-in game. And watching this game, I hate to react to one game so harshly, because I criticize others for doing that. But this game is almost driving me to the point where losing that game on Wednesday is better because, you're going to be 40-42, hopefully, instead of 41-41. You're going to be 40-42. You're hopefully lower than the Timberwolves. Maybe, just maybe, lower than the Oklahoma City Thunder. And you have, the 12th best odds instead of the 14th best odds in the lottery, or you don't go into the playoffs and lose in 4 or 5 to the Milwaukee Bucks. I still, the front office wants this team to win. I still lean towards, let's make the play-in game. Let's win the play-in tournament. Let's win through the play-in tournament. Let's get to the playoffs. Let's give these young players like Scotty Barnes some valuable experience here. Let's see what we really got here in big games with guys like Siakam, Van Vliet. I understand that thing, but this game almost drove me to the point of just wanting this season to be a wash, wanting to get the draft pick and moving on. I said earlier in the stream, the play-in position is like the absolute worst place you can be for a team like the Raptors. The direction of the deadline was something I didn't agree with. The trade for Pirtle, valuation-wise, Pirtle's a great player. It made sense, but direction of the team doesn't really seem to be making sense. So this is what we traded away a good draft pick for a play-in tournament where we'll see what happens. Ultimately, like I said, I want this team to win games. Not Sunday. I want them to lose Sunday. But I want this team to win through the play-in tournament. Consolation prize is the lottery odds. You at least put your name in the hat in the lottery. I've been calling it a win-win scenario where, hey, you win in the play-in tournament, you're in the playoffs, cool. You lose, you're in the lottery, cool. It's more of a lose-lose, though. It really is more of a lose-lose because you lose in the play-in, you have a lottery pick that could have been a lot better if you had made a better decision for direction of the team on February 9th. If you win in the play-in tournament, you go to the playoffs, well, you lose first round, and now you don't have a lottery pick. It's just not a best position to be in. And Shay, if you're in the mindset that you want this team to lose in the play-in, if they look anything like they did today, you're going to get your wish because Siakam, I'll give him credit. He had 0 points after the first quarter and at least played better, 8 of 15 with 19 points. He had a bad game from OG. He had a bad game from Barnes. He had a bad game from Pirtle. He had another really bad game from Van Vliet shooting-wise. At least, 12 points, 8 assists. Cool, but another bad shooting game from a guy you need to shoot well. Chua seems to be catching form at the right time, which is somewhat cool. Another tough game from Gary Trent Jr., but, look at the shooting. I mean, there's a lot of garbage time, so the stats don't really tell the full story here. After the first quarter, we lost the first quarter 34-16. And then it got even worse in the second quarter. I don't need to go through the stats here. I don't, because they don't really give you anything of note. The Raptors looked like they didn't give a shit in a game that they had to win. I talked about it in the video yesterday on Amateur Hour Sports. I spoke about the biggest problem Raptors fans should fear in the play-in game, in the play-in tournament, play-in games, whatever. And it's the inconsistency. This team on some days looks amazing. Then it looks like the worst team in the NBA on other days. So when you have to put everything together, on court for 2 straight games, they're not exactly instilling a lot of confidence that they're going to be able to do that. So this is where we're at in the season. This is what has been decided for this team. There's a lot wrong. We'll see what the play-in tournament holds. We unfortunately, have one more game in the season that is completely meaningless. We're better off. We're better off losing for sure for lottery purposes, but we've gotten to a pretty ugly point in the season, and this is just the ugly ass cherry on top of the disaster season that has unfolded for the Toronto Raptors, and I'm pretty excited for it to wrap up. If it ends in the play-in tournament, we can focus on making it better in the offseason. If it ends in the playoffs, we'll have some fun watching the playoff, Raptors playoff basketball. And there's a time when playoff basketball felt impossible for this team. So, the fact that you're having such a bad season can still make the playoffs, maybe that's actually pretty cool considering where this team was if you think 15 years ago. Well, that's a long time ago. Standards are higher. Well, we've built a winning culture. We've built expectation, and the front office has maintained the winning expectation with the decision making. So that's why a lot of this is so frustrating for the fan base, and I completely understand that. But games like this are just completely unacceptable. But it seems becoming more acceptable because it happens so frequently. Way too much. I mean, this game once is way too much, let alone the amount of times. Although I said earlier it's the worst this season. There's been a lot of really, really bad nights like this. Like I think about the Atlanta game at one of the Atlanta games at home. We beat them by 30 once at home. But the other game at home where we were diabolical. Those back-to-backs against Orlando at the start of the season. Thinking back to that one. The Brooklyn Nets game in Brooklyn where they just like ran us out of the gym in the first half. I don't quite remember where that was in the season. It must have been December area. But yeah, this might be the top, the bottom, the lowest of the low. And no better time than right before the play-in tournament. All right, guys, that'll wrap it up. I'll be live streaming for the Sunday game against the Milwaukee Bucks. The game won't be entertaining, but the stream will be. We'll talk about the Raptors, we'll talk about the offseason, talk about plans, talk about our thoughts and everything. So make sure you're there on Amateur Sports for that watch party for the Raptors against the Bucks on Sunday. I go live 30 minutes before the scheduled start of the game. I also do post-game shows that go with the Amateur Clips. If you're watching there, make sure to smash that like button and subscribe for Raptors post-game shows for every Raptors game for the rest of the season. We also have great content coming for the offseason. One would say that even the offseason content is better than the in-season content. So get subscribed today. Join the Amateur Hour Army.